Harry didn't hear the blast. He felt it arrive as silence. His phone stopped buzzing. Partners who once checked in fell quiet, and the packed calendar that kept him moving suddenly emptied. That's when he realized the charity visit wasn't just a well-meaning day out. It was the spark that ignited a fuse beneath everything he and Meghan had tried to build. He'd prepared lines about purpose and youth programs, the kinds of causes he believed in, but now there was nothing. Doors closed. Messages were rerouted. The house felt smaller with each unanswered ping, the walls closing in. Word drifted back in broken pieces. A Los Angeles youth nonprofit had erased photos, then captions, then any sign of collaboration. Not because cameras were unexpected, cameras are expected these days, but because cameras felt like the entire point. The ugly version of the story painted Meghan's team scripting questions, staging kids where the light hit best, and forcing staff into NDAs. Maybe some details were exaggerated, maybe they weren't. Either way, the mood flipped instantly. Meghan arrived ready with her polished performance, the cadence, the soft hand on a child's shoulder just as a shutter clicked. But someone noticed an aide holding cue cards just outside the frame. Another saw a volunteer lean in for a hug and stop mid-motion. Screenshots of an internal memo treating children like set dressing started circulating. It might have been just an online squabble on another day, but this time, the narrative grabbed everyone by the throat and didn't let go. By sundown, the nonprofit publicly posted a bland statement about reevaluating celebrity partnerships. Behind the scenes, it meant distance. Brands who once saw the couple as a feel-good juggernaut stepped sideways. Luxury partners paused negotiations. A podcast that had sounded promising a week earlier went cold. It wasn't just backlash, it was momentum in the wrong direction. The internet loves a storyline, and this one practically wrote itself. Harry watched the narrative spool out in real time. Public sentiment was shifting, not with explosive fury, but with a steady erosion that couldn't be reversed with a single statement. When a tabloid splashed "Duchess of Deception" across its front page, Harry knew they were in deep. Old palace aides, who hadn't called him in months, began popping back into his calendar. Not to gloat, but their silence alone felt heavier than words. Meghan reacted differently. She leaned deeper into control, approving every caption and statement herself. Advisors pleaded with her to step back, let professionals handle the crisis, but she refused. Vulnerability wasn't part of the plan. It felt like an open wound waiting for attack. She had lived that vulnerability in palace life and wasn't going back. But the world outside wasn't slowing down. Two brands quietly ended negotiations. A podcast platform stopped returning calls. A luxury label pulled sponsorship altogether, citing alignment concerns. A major streaming project was paused, with executives wary of the couple's shifting public image. Harry's frustration grew. He found himself watching Meghan during dinners, searching her face for any sign she understood how fragile their position had become. He longed to talk about how perception and reality were slipping apart, how silence was no longer neutral but corrosive. Each time he opened his mouth, he closed it again, fearing they'd spiral into an argument they couldn't win. The headlines shifted from harsh critiques to outright mockery. A late-night host joked Meghan treated kindness like a scheduled appointment. TikTok edits replayed awkward charity moments set to comedic music, racking up millions of views. The mockery stuck. Even when Harry wasn't there, his name appeared in captions linking him to every stumble. He tried to change the narrative the only way he knew. Small charity visits without cameras or scripted lines. He hugged everyone, asked questions, and listened. Photos leaked anyway, but this time they showed Harry's tears and earnestness, earning praise and painting him as authentic, in stark contrast to Meghan's perceived aloofness. It wasn't fair, he thought, but the world rarely is. Meghan's instinct was to tighten control even more. Every meeting focused on micromanaging messaging, what images to release, what interviews to decline, what hashtags to push. Advisors suggested a candid video or heartfelt apology. She rejected it outright. "That's exactly what they want," she snapped. "I won't give them that." In private, cracks were showing. Sponsorships evaporated. Charities questioned whether her presence might hurt more than help. One UK education nonprofit quietly pulled an offer for her to speak, saying it no longer felt authentic. Harry's patience frayed as he watched opportunity after opportunity slip away. He wanted to ask why sincerity had become so difficult, but each time he swallowed the words. The royal family hovered over it all, silent but present. Old contacts reached out with quiet sympathy and subtle reminders that their warnings had been right. Harry felt their validation sting, because it wasn't entirely wrong. The cameras that once promised power now felt like spotlights exposing every flaw. Neither of them said it, but they both felt it. The image they'd worked so hard to craft was slipping beyond their control, and nothing they did seemed enough to bring it back.